Hello everyone and welcome to my top 10 films of 1947 and 48. I've got a very interesting list for you all today. We're following in the wake of World War II. Poverty was a central theme to, I count, 6 films from this list. I find it very interesting that these films focusing on like working class regular people, very gritty, very realistic. And then when it's about higher class people, it's all cinematic and satirical, and these characters are like literal murderers. And also in this video we're seeing the establishment of Japanese cinema. All these Japanese films feel strangely interconnected. They're all like small stories set in post-war Tokyo. You could almost edit these together and make like a Magnolia type thing out of it. As per tradition, I have seen 14 films from this time period. But before we dive into this list, we have got some very sad news. Greg Toland was a massively influential cinematographer. You may remember how gorgeous Citizen Kane looked, and that would not be the case without him. This use of deep focus and hard lighting, his visual style and approach is drawn from to this day, and he died way too young. Just imagine what he might have been able to achieve with some of the newer technology. Greg Toland died in 1948, aged 44. And another big one is D.W. Griffith. You may remember me reviewing his Birth of a Nation, Intolerance, had some pretty terrible beliefs, but his contribution to cinema can't be unnoticed. His use of cross-cutting and sort of weaving together numerous narratives, introducing ideas of like editing to close-ups. Griffith also died in 1948, aged 73. So at number 10 we have Monsieur Verdoux. The idea of this film was originally conceived by Orson Welles but passed over to Chaplin, who, like with his other works, he wrote, directed, starred, scored this satire about this serial killer who targets rich women. And this is inspired by a real-life French killer, so this is very controversial at the time. You're sort of sensationalizing a real-life event, and also you're under scrutiny about this Joan Barry case and all this. Chaplin was just a controversial figure at this time, and I'd highly recommend you watch this documentary about it. So let's just start with Chaplin's performance itself. I really liked him in this. I really enjoyed his suaveness.
Madame Gronet, Captain Bonheur.
Who?
I say I had the honor of meeting you in the south of France. Don't you remember? I'm Monsieur Verdoux. You came to look over my house.
Oh, yes, I remember.
Ah, yes. I wanted to send you a book on astrology, but unfortunately I couldn't get hold of your address.
Oh, quite so.
Quite so. Quite so.
I must admit, I found this film pretty repetitive. Chaplin charms a woman, she falls for it, he does something bad. When things finally start going wrong, it becomes interesting.
Listen, you've done nothing but sit and stare all evening. I thought we were going to enjoy the waning twilight together.
No, be careful, my dear. Be careful of the furniture.
Oh, honey, you're always complaining. Here, drink a drink.
But there was just not enough of that. I found myself craving conflict. And then I guess it all falls into place in the last 10 minutes where Chaplin's in trial giving this big speech, much like he did with The Great Dictator. Basically, the moral of the story is how can we get mad at serial killers and I guess films satirizing serial killers and all this sort of thing when there's genocides, big massive holocausts that have just happened that go way beyond these little targeted things like, oh, Chaplin's offensive.
As a mass killer, I'm an amateur by comparison.
I think that's a good point, but is that really it?
That's sarsaparilla. You're drinking my wine.
At number 9 we have The Lady from Shanghai. So this is another noir film by Orson Welles, the mind behind the incredible Citizen Kane. Here he is doing a terrible Irish accent.
When I start out to make a fool of myself, there's very little can stop me.
Orson Welles' character falls blindly in love with Rita Hayworth, and through this he becomes embroiled in this murder plot.
I want you to kill me.
Same old noir stuff. Now, I'd always heard that Rita Hayworth was a sexual icon, but I don't think I quite understood it until this film.
I don't care where it is, Michael. Just take me there. Take me quick. Take me.
As a noir, I found this very alright, but where I think it does excel is the cinematography that really sells this to me. It's definitely subtler than Citizen Kane, but it's still playing with the medium in a way that I don't think I've seen yet. You're playing with the aspect ratio. I guess Gantz kind of did that, but this is like the first time I've seen Hollywood do that. And playing with the framing, you'll see how I am here. I'm like 2/3 up the screen, and here this film is completely rejecting those rules.
At some point we should probably discuss the rule of thirds, but otherwise these
It's a subtle change that makes a huge difference. At number 8 we have Mr. Blandings Builds His Dream House. So this is directed by H.C. Potter, also did Hauser Poppin', and we've got Cary Grant, Bristol actor, where I'm from. So there's some great names attached to this. Mr. and Mrs. Blandings are these middle-class American family living in an apartment in New York. I thought the wife in this was great. She's obstructing his life in a way that feels like it must be deliberate, but it's kind of played like both ways. But being in this city apartment is not doing them any favours. It's too small.
Well, they must be somewhere. Socks don't just get up and walk away by themselves.
Muriel, I thought we had it clearly understood that these two and a half top drawers were mine. I thought, why not?
Perhaps they need a fresh start in the countryside, and so Mr. and Mrs. Blandings decide to build their dream house.
In the study, if we could just push out this wall a little and put in a built-in bar...
Excuse me, dear.
Huh?
These bedrooms are too small, and we'll have to have a little dressing room.
And yeah, so this whole film is basically just them not knowing what they're doing. Genuinely strong comedy, lots of great little background gags. I did overall prefer the kind of crazy zaniness of Hauser Poppin'. But this is a very solid comedy and there's some great performances in here.
On them second floor lintels between the lally columns. Do you want we should rabbit them or not?
The second floor lallies?
Second floor lintels between the lallies.
Oh, the lintels between the lallies.
Yeah, from the blueprints you can't tell. You want they should be rabbited?
No, I guess not.
Okay, you're the doctor. Hey, fellas, if you got any of them rabbited lintels set, rip them out.
At number 7 we have One Wonderful Sunday. This is directed by Akira Kurosawa. Now this guy, he's got to be one of the biggest Japanese directors ever. So this follows a couple in post-war Tokyo. They're struggling to get by, living this destitute lifestyle. And this relationship is great. You've got the guy who's being really nihilistic and just negative, and the woman who just doesn't quite know how to navigate it.
すいません、遅くなって。
来ない方が良かったんだよ。
え？
来てもしょうがなかったんだよ。
どうして？
15円しかないんだ。なんでブなんて持ったのかさ。
私少しは持ってるわ。
俺だって男だよ。
It's really great scenes with these two. There's this really touching moment where they're sat on the bench and there's this beautiful soft guitar underscoring it.
こんなことしてんのももう初めは桜が咲いてたな。
またすぐ春になるわ。
There's definitely similarities to the story of the Last Chrysanthemum here. Both Japanese films following this woman consoling this depressed man. It feels very inspired, but it's still its own thing. It's a lot more balanced with its camera work. Some of the staging here is just incredible. The way it pans around and dynamically shifts within the same shot. You can really see Kurosawa's style forming here. At first I actually thought, okay, this could actually be a contender against the story of the Last Chrysanthemum. But I'd say the whole last act really brought this one down for me. I really like this man being depressed. I think there's some great stuff with that. But then there's this bit where the woman like breaks down because she doesn't know what to do, and I did not buy it. I'm sorry, I did not find it convincing.
ばあちゃん、いいんだよ。
No one cries like that. And then there's like a monologue to the camera, just super cringe decisions here.
世の中の冷たい風にいつも凍えていなければならない。貧しい恋人たちのために。
I just thought this ending was really pretentious and it brought the whole thing down. But I like to think that Kurosawa learnt from this film and developed his style for this film, so a fascinating watch for that. At number 6 we have Rope, another film directed by Hollywood legend Alfred Hitchcock and starring James Stewart, who you may recall I reviewed in a Christmas film. These two collaborated together frequently and this is the first time. So this is one of the first, if not the first, one-take films, though there is a couple of intentional cuts in this. But one-take films, think of things like Birdman, 1917, There's lots of examples of this kind of film, but this is one of the earliest and also the tackiest. The lack of cutting I think could have been a cool style, but when it was trying to hide them, it was just so obviously a cut. Like, what the fuck is this? Something I will praise, however, I really love how this one location dynamically shifts from the day into the night. The sunset looks so good, and the smoke coming out of the miniature buildings in the background, and the way it looks at night with all these blurry city lights and these strong, like, vibrant strokes of colour. So much of this works for me, but I think it's just doing too much at once. But the film isn't too serious, it's actually quite a fun tone. We follow these two guys who have committed a murder, and their genius plan to get away with the murder is to host a dinner party whilst hiding the body in plain sight so that no one will suspect a thing.
What the devil are you doing? Making our work of art a masterpiece. Brandon, you're going too far.
Why? What do you mean? I just thought it'd be nice to have supper in here.
And so there's this rising tension throughout the film as James Stewart starts to uncover the truth. Anyone who's been watching my series for a while may remember I reviewed this short film called The Mistletoe Bough. This is kind of playing with that concept.
The mistletoe bough. That was always your favorite tale, wasn't it?
What was that one about?
I don't remember exactly how it started. It was about a lovely young girl.
She was a bride-to-be, and on her wedding day, she playfully hid herself in a chest.
Yes, that's right.
Unfortunately, it had a spring lock. 50 years later, they found her skeleton.
At number 5, we have The Record of a Tenement Gentleman. So this is directed by Yasujiro Ozu, another highly regarded Japanese filmmaker. We follow this small group of friends who live on the outskirts of post-war Tokyo, and they come into possession of this young boy.
なんだいこの子供拾うてきたどっからよ普段からついてきてしまうて宿なしかいいや今朝親と茅ヶ崎から出てきて普段で親にはぐれてしまったんじゃ
It starts off as a kind of moral dilemma, like what should we do with him? Everyone just wants to get rid of this poor kid.
田代さん拾ってきたんだものお前さんとこ行くのが当たり前じゃないか
俺は嫌だよ嫌なことやんな前みたいな寝しょんべんするガキかや嫌だったらどっかへそっと置いてきなよ
冗談じゃないよそんならお前さんどっか置いといて
All these characters are great. They all have unique perspectives and positions on it. But eventually the situation falls on this older woman who clearly resents the boy. She's kind of upset about how her life turned out, having no husband, no kids, and how maybe it's too late for her. We're seeing this connection forming between her and the boy. Oftentimes it's shot from the floor, very low angle shots. The way that it's shot down like this is a common characteristic of Ozu, but I think it works really well in this film because we're sort of seeing the situation from the boy's perspective, looking up at the grown-ups. It's a really tight story and it packs a punch by the end, and you get to see footage of kids smoking.
まあ俺のとこだって困んね頼まれるのはごたごたあるし子供もいるしご覧の通りのお座敷で
座敷は立派なもんだよあんな額なんかかけちゃってさいいじゃないか子供なんか3人座ってんのも4人座ってんのも同じこったよ
そうはいかないよタメさんどうだいあんたんと俺んちダメなんだよあそう
何がダメなのさちっともダメなことないじゃないか
置いてやんなよあんたんとこへなんなら小僧にしたっていいじゃないか
そうだよ起きなよ当然だよ
At number 4, we have Drunken Angel, another film from Akira Kurosawa. So this time we're following the relationship between an alcoholic doctor and a Yakuza member with tuberculosis.
ついでに風邪薬もらってるのか体で抜けやがるお前たちみたいな自堕落な生活してるやつは結核菌取りつかれる率が多いから気をつけなこんな相部屋みがあってたまるかよ見かけだけじゃわからないよ相部屋みはみんな波子さんみてえだと思ったら大間違いだスポーツマンによくあることだ本人も他人も夢にも考えないうちにやられてるのは結核さ相部屋ってやつは痛くも痒くもないから始末が悪いんだ
Very unique premise with lots of drama surrounding it. For example, this doctor's assistant used to be romantically involved with another Yakuza member, and so this whole situation is like bringing about this relapse where she's starting to pity her ex. And I love the doctor in this, like he's just not having it.
でも私女として
何
家出てきてもし私がいなかったら
バカどれ本当だぞそれはお前がさっき自分で言ったばかりじゃないかお前はあいつにかっぱられたんじゃないかあんなにいじめられ病気まで移されてそのあげく犬のコンテル捨てられたんじゃないか
A very small detail, but something that I really love, is just this sort of slapsticky style of violence. Very goofy, throwing people around. I often complain about Hollywood sort of violence and how stupid it looks, and this is really how to do it. The story itself, I feel, is kind of secondary to this film. It's really about offering us this window into this shifting culture amongst all this poverty. I really enjoy the seamless transition between these plots. One moment that will really stick with me is just how we're on one plot and then the camera just pans out and it's a guy playing guitar, just moves from one plot to another like that. I really like the look of this. The shots are very landscapey and almost painterly in its composition, and I think this is something Kurosawa only builds on. From what I've seen, I'd say this is Kurosawa's first truly good film. At number 3, we have The Treasure of the Sierra Madre, directed by John Huston. It wasn't too long ago that I reviewed his The Maltese Falcon. I liked that film, but this is significantly better. The story kicks off with these 2 American workers in 1920s Mexico. They've got no money, and then they meet this old man.
I've dug in Alaska and Canada and Colorado. I was with the crowd in the British Honduras, where it made my fare back home and almost enough over to cure me of the fever I'd caught. Dug in California and Australia, all over the world practically. I know what gold does to men's souls.
So the 3 of them decide to team up and go search for gold in the Sierra Madre. I love this old man character, he's so good. He's completely crazy, but also the only one out of the 3 who actually knows what he's doing. I love the chemistry that he has with these 2 characters.
I'll leave him alone. Can't you see that the old man's nuts?
Nuts! Nuts, am I? Let me tell you something, my 2 fine bedfellows. You're so dumb there's nothing to compare you with. You're dumber than the dumbest jackass. Look at each other, will you? Do you ever see anything like yourself for being dumb specimens?
It's such a cozy, entertaining watch. Watching them build all these systems to get the gold, hanging out around the campfire, camping, drinking coffee. So chill.
Hey, you fellas, how about some beans? Want some beans?
But as you might expect, these fun times, they don't last long. The gold is driving them crazy. They're starting to question each other's intentions.
Oh, don't think I don't see through that. You 2 thrown together against me. The 2 days I'd be gone would give you plenty of time to discover where my goods are, wouldn't it?
Bogart is just incredible in this. I actually think this is his best performance. I love watching this character just slowly unravel.
Not even the bones will be left to tell the story. Done as if by order.
Definitely an interesting follow-up to The Maltese Falcon, exploring very similar ideas about treasure corrupting the soul and greed, but I just think it's done better here. I love the atmosphere and I love the characters. I highly recommend this. This is my favourite Humphrey Bogart film that I've reviewed so far.
I wouldn't pay you dinner for a carload.
What ain't gold?
Pyrites. Fool's gold. Oh, not there ain't plenty of the real stuff hereabouts. We walked over it 4 or 5 times. The place yesterday that looked like rich diggings, but the water for washing the sand was 11 miles away, too far. And the other place, well, there wasn't enough gold to pay us a good day's wages. Hey, next time you fellas strike it rich, holler for me, will you, before we start flashing water around? Water's precious. Sometimes it can be more precious than gold.
At number 2, we have Women of the Night, another film from Japanese director Kenji Mizoguchi. I've reviewed his Story of the Last Chrysanthemum. I've only seen 2 of his films, but Mizoguchi is quickly becoming a favourite Japanese director of mine. So this time we're following prostitutes in post-war Osaka. I was so surprised at how well this held up. It's very sympathetic at how it portrays these women, and the motivations all made sense to me. They've lost their husbands, their children, their source of income. The whole world is against them.
No. 奥さん、お金がおいるようなら話がありまんねやけど、どうなんです？話ってどんなお話ですの？難しいではな。たまには取り込むことも考えんことには。お仕事がありまんのか？私何でもやりますわ。お頼申します。
So they have to do something to survive, and it really does justify the idea of prostitution and why someone would do that.
失礼なこと言わんといてください。ちょっとあるだけでよろしおまんのやないかいな。みんなやってありますんで。人見てもの言ってください。バカにせんとって。
I'll admit, I think the core story of this was a little unfocused, kind of convoluted in places. It's really the representation of prostitution, which a very controversial subject for this time and represented so well. I think that's what really makes it. How can we as an audience look down on these women when it's the men who are creating the demand? And a lot of these men are just manipulative, exploitative. The gang of girls team up against this teenage girl and strip her down, rob her for her clothes. It's very brutal stuff, but the presentation is so light with the sort of like, tracking shot, sort of slightly over the top acting. It's done with a playfulness that makes for a kind of disturbing contrast. But looking at the characters at the heart of this, they are so good. The chemistry that these girls have together, and this exaggerated style of acting, like all these extras giggling manically and having so much fun. What I think stopped this film from being at the #1 spot was the ending, which was good in places, but overall I'm mixed on it. The imagery of the destroyed chapel at the end is a bit heavy-handed, but nitpicks aside, this is an exceptional film. And at #1 we have Bicycle Thieves. Most people will agree that this is the best film to come from the Italian neorealism movement. Like so many films from this list, this film is also tackling the subject of poverty, but I would argue that this is the cleanest with its messaging. So there's this struggling family man. He gets a job as a bill poster. The film places a lot of significance on this job. We really see why it matters so much to this family. He pawned his bike and he needs it back for this job, so he sells his bed sheets. These are desperate times for people. But then his bike is stolen, and so him and his son set out to track down the thief. All the actors are great in this, even the kid is great in this. Really good, actually.
Perché mi hai dato?
Perché te lo meritavi. Anna, mo cammina.
No, non ci voglio dire, vattene via te.
Avanti, muovete.
A really nice touch that really grounds this film in reality is just this shot of him putting up Rita Hayworth posters, really contrasting that Hollywood beauty with his home life. It's actively separating itself from the idea of a film. It's a neorealism, it's a documentary, realist kind of hybrid thing. But that is not to say that this isn't entertaining. The stakes are high, everything he stands for is riding on this job, and he's got his bike stolen within the first week. And we're actively seeing him break down in front of his son, we're seeing him take him out for pizza when he knows he can't afford it.
Non pensiamo a niente. Ci ubriachiamo, va.
Without spoiling it, this is incredibly punchy with its approach to like crime and poverty, and an incredibly poignant, powerful ending that will always stick with me. This is just a classic, and for good reason.
Pensa, prima davano pure le scarpe. Però la quindicina è buona. 6.000, più l'assegni familiari. E poi ci scappa pure lo straordinario, dai, Maria.
Antò, che mi fermi un momento in via della Paglia?
Che hai da fare?
Niente, si tratta di un momento, devo passare da una che lavora.
Da una?
Sì, da una.
So, that's my list. What's your favourite film from the years 1947 and 48? And if you've got any good 50s films to recommend me, do let me know. I will be covering that era very soon. That's all from me. I'll catch you in the next one.